Hello, everybody, and surprise, welcome back. You thought we were done. You thought 20 people was plenty for this cast. However, you didn't think that we could do this season of second chances without the ultimate second chance story of going all the way back to season one, the first boot of Big Brother Hometowns ever, Mr. Ian Wrestler. You didn't think we could do the season without him, did you? Um, like mind blown having him on this cast, and I'm so excited to talk to him with two of his very good friends from his real life. One who is, the host of Big Brother Hometowns, and the other who hails all the way back from season one. It is Chris Griffith. Chris, how are you?
Hey, Mitchell. Good. How are you?
We're doing good. Let me also bring in Josh. So we're here with these people who know Ian, who we got in the Big Brother house for what? 2-3 days?
2-3 days.
You know, all the way back when this whole project starts, 2.5 years ago at this point.
No,
3
we're
years,
3 years
ago
ago.
at this point. You know, I don't even know what to say. I truly don't even know.
It is a very surreal thing to think that this is a 3-year-old project, because it's still like, and for me, it still feels new and fun and fresh. And to approach Ian and even say like, "Hey, would you want to do this again?" Because you didn't really get to do it the first time, and like, are you able? Are you willing? Are you ready? Like all these things, and the answer was yes, without really any problem. And it's the ultimate second chance story. We have to have him back. The very first person ever voted out, and I'm thrilled that he's back.
Yeah, Chris, tell us a little bit about your relationship with Ian. How long have you guys known each other, and what it was like to play with him for that brief period of time back in BBH 1.
Yeah, so I've known Ian for a while. Couldn't tell you how many years now, but he's a really good game player. I've played a lot of different board games with him. We've done a lot of different things together. So I think he's someone that's very strategic. And I think everyone knew that coming into the game. I think he definitely came in as one of the people with a big target on their back. So I think that's something to keep in mind for this season for sure, is that Ian's going to be very strategic with the way he plays, and probably even more so now, knowing that when you come in with that kind of a reputation, you have to put another layer of strategy there. So I think he's someone who can definitely take someone aside and have those conversations one-to-one. I think that's a lot of times one of Ian's strengths, are those one-to-one conversations. So I would say if he sticks to that, that's definitely going to be something important for him.
Yeah. I'm on record of saying that the first episode of Big Brother Hometowns 1 is one of the most riveting 12 minutes of entertainment that you can go on in like if you want to go on a journey. There's such an arc for Ian specifically in that episode of like, starting out so strong, like, oh, I have my alliance. Oh, we're calling our alliance the Four Horsemen. Like, and thinking like, oh, that would be a great position to start in, to the wrong person winning HOH, to finding himself up on the block, and then ultimately being the first one evicted. There's a world where this goes very differently for him in season one. Tell us kind of like what you remember about that first couple of days of the game, Chris, and how it ultimately ended up in resulting in Ian going out first.
Yeah, so from the very beginning, I think we might not have known who the Four Horsemen were, or that they were necessarily calling themselves that, but it was pretty clear that the house had kind of split itself into at least a couple camps. And so I think when it's that obvious that there are these two centers of power, I think it really kind of pushed people to target one of those two. So I think, yeah, like you said, wrong person got HOH, and it was downhill from there.
Yeah, and to put complete context around that, it was Ian and his now wife Allie as two of the half, and then Ashton and her now ex-boyfriend Lane. Sorry, I don't know why I was about to say anything like that. And her ex-boyfriend Lane. They were the four horsemen. And I can say whatever the heck I want now. This is beautiful because Ian is the last person that we are revealing to the viewing audience. So, Chris, you don't even know this, but two of the four horsemen are returning to this season. So Ian and Ashton are both going to be on this season together, which I think I'm very, very excited about. And hopefully that they get to really get a chance to play together. But the four of them link up. They're part of the couples. There's this whole contingent of anti-couplers and Bradley is like smack dab in the middle of it all. He wins HOH. He backdoors Ian and Ian goes home. And that's really the start, middle, and end of his BBH journey.
Yeah. But I think like context is important. And we, whenever we talk about BBH1, we have to remember that everybody in that game knew each other. Minus Daniel Sanchez, everybody had some level of familiarity with one another. And everybody knows that Ian is really good at games. He's really good at, just like regular board games or like any sort of like game that may involve some sort of strategic thinking. You all know that he's really good there. And that's why ultimately he's a big target. What do you guys think? He's an unknown factor. Yeah. And the only person who's going to know him is Ashton. Nobody else is going to know. If they've watched BBH1 on YouTube, they're going to be like, who is this? Like, right. How is he going to fare? How do you guys think he'll fare in a sea of people he doesn't know and that don't know him?
Chris, you can take it. I'll go after you.
Am I back?
Yeah, you're back.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I would say that I think there's some advantages to that for sure. Being a relatively unknown, because then you don't have that big of a target. But you do need to start making some of the connections early on because these people don't know you. So you need to get a feel for who else is in the house, and they need to get a feel for you. So make those connections early. Figure out who might be an ally, who might not, and who's your competition, and kind of start building your strategy because information is absolutely key in any type of strategic planning. So you need to get that information early, start to develop those ideas about who's in the house.
Yeah, I remember this is from BBH 5 when Sarah Williamson plays again. I remember a specific confessional where she says, someone just said that I got voted out early in my first game because I was a strategic force. I don't want them to know that is the case again here. And one of a couple things could happen in terms of what could go poorly for Ian is people say, man, it would be funny if the first person voted out was voted out first again. That is something that we're going to have to, like a bridge we're going to have to cross. Someone is going to say it. Someone's going to say it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to fight them with my words whenever they are evicted. I'm going to punch them in the face.
Yeah, someone's going to say it. And then there's the two. It's like he's a relatively unknown. That season, everyone knew each other. There had to be a good reason they voted him out. Those are things that could go poorly. Chris is exactly right. It's going to be those early connections. And I think of these two relatively unknowns, Ashton and Ian, I actually feel a little bit better about Ian's work ethic in terms of a little bit of more eager to get in there and play. And I think that's going to be good. I think Ian coming in as unknown, if he's in there playing, he's just going to kind of have the wide-eyed, like, hey, I'm Ian. Like, I like D&D, and like I played the first time. He's gonna be able to rest on that for a long time as he works himself in. And I hope he gets that. I hope he gets his foot in the door in that way. And I think he's gonna put the work in to do it.
Yeah, I'm curious to see for him. The game has changed so much since he played 3 years ago. We have so many people who they do this all the time on this cast. There's so many people that they are in 2 games at once, and like they eat, sleep, and breathe playing these games. And I wonder and I worry about his ability to keep up with that intensity, but I'm hopeful that he picks it up, and that people who are, who say, oh, I would really want to work with someone that I don't know, will actually keep that same energy and will want to work with Ian, because I think, I don't have a lot of context for his gameplay ability in terms of Big Brother, but I've seen him play other games, and he's really, he'll work with you and then he'll cut your throat. So like I'm thinking of Cosmic. I sat next to him and he worked with me and we worked together, and then he dismantled me, at times. And it was just fun. He's got it there, and he could do it as long as he keeps up with the expectation of the pace around him.
Yeah, Chris, I'm curious. I think this is our best like connective tissue is from how we see him play Cosmic Encounter, which is a board game. I'll tell you about it later if you're watching this. And like between Cosmic and what he's able to do here, like, do we think he's going to have that like killer instinct that he can have in Cosmic? And I think he can get away with it in Cosmic, especially when you're playing with people, but do you think that he is going to make the big move when it's time to make the big move?
Yeah, I think, like you're saying, that's definitely something that's important. And you'll see games where Ian does it and he doesn't other games. So I don't know. I feel like if it was me in his shoes and you're coming back after so long, it's like, this is like, you came back for a reason. So you got to have a little bit of that fight already in mind. So I really think that he's going to channel that and use that as like, this is my time. I need to go all in if I'm coming back.
Mm-hmm.
He seems very eager. Like, he put a lot of effort into his intro video. He, and you don't do that if you're not excited. Honestly, like, that's just my take on it. Like, he put a lot into it, and I think, he seems like the type of person who's just here to have a good time. But he will be playing hard, and again, I just hope that he kind of catches on, or someone clues him in that, like, hey, the game is going on. And like, if he's getting left behind, that they drag him with them. Because I think, yes, like Josh said, I will fight anybody who says he needs, like, well, how hilarious if he could be like Big Brother Hometown's Francesca,
right?
Which in theory it's funny, but does he really deserve that? Does he really need that? No, we don't need that. We want to see. My goal for every single person is that even the first boot finds redemption in some capacity in their story or in their time here. And for Ian, surviving one eviction is like the bare minimum that he can do to feel like he improved on his first attempt. And I want that for every single person in this game, and I want that for Ian.
And at the expense of like spoiling, you guys will be seeing this on Friday. So today is Friday when you're watching this. At the expense of spoiling what we're going to start tomorrow with the opening twist, which I'm sure we'll talk about at some point. At the expense of spoiling that, I think that Ian has a really, really good shot of surviving that first eviction. I think he's got a really, really, really good shot if he puts in just a little bit of work.
If he doesn't survive it, things have gone horribly wrong.
Yeah, there's a lot that has to go wrong for it to crash down on Ian.
And that's not us saying that we rigged it.
No.
It's just like there's going to have to be a series of events that go wrong for him to not survive.
What? Yeah. Chris, you're going to say something. I had a question for you. If not,
no, go ahead.
Okay. What do you think that Ashton and Ian are good for each other?
So Ashton and Ian, they could definitely be an asset to each other. I think they both have the same mindset about how long an alliance lasts. So, and I think we saw that with Ashton's later game too, in season 1. But I think especially seeing, like Mitchell brought up in Cosmic Encounter, like they both understand that an ally is an ally for now and not for later. So I think that in that sense, they will be good for each other, because I think they'll both kind of take it at that face value of, okay, we can work together for now, but this means nothing later.
Is there any chance that either of them throw the other one under the bus, like early on, to kind of get ahead?
Yeah, there's gonna. Go ahead.
Go. I was gonna say, I feel like I less likely see Ashton doing that early on, but it's still possible. I think Ian would probably have no problem doing that early on.
Yeah, because there's gonna be at some point. And it's going to be really unfair. I'm already mad about it. It hasn't happened yet. It's going to be really unfair when someone says, oh, Ian and Ashton, they're the only two people from season 1. We got to come for them together. Like they're going to go up on the block together or whatever it may be. Like it's really unfair because this cast is very interconnected in that way, but it's going to be such a sore thumb in a sense of like, oh, look at those two from way 3 years ago. Like it's going to be very unfortunate. So I wouldn't be surprised if at some point Ian or Ashton says, I'm not working with them. They can go. Like, we haven't talked in ages. Like, forget about it. When in reality, when they link up, they're going to be like, oh my gosh, we're going to go all the way to the end together.
Could you imagine
Ashton
and
Ian
at
at the
final
end?
two?
I cannot,
Yeah.
frankly. I cannot. I don't know what would have to happen to give us that conclusion. Call me up in about 30, 35 days. If that happens, then holy moly, like something crazy happened.
What do we estimate Ian's like win equity in a season like this? Do we think he has what he needs to take it all the way, or is he going to get caught up in a sea a sea of these experienced org players, along the way?
I think he's gonna, like you said, he's gonna need to make sure he's up to speed quick. Like if he figures out what is going on in this game now versus what was going on back then, and really digs into what's going on, I think he's got a lot of the tools that he needs. Like I said, he's really good in those one-to-one situations. He's very strategic on a long scale planning. So if he can figure out the particulars of what's going on in Big Brother Hometowns, I think he really does have a lot of the tools.
Yeah, and I've given him and Ashton a little bit of my like final, hey, I can't be your guide anymore advice. Like a few days ago, I was like, this is the last couple of things. I was like, do your homework, get to talking to people, get in there, all those things. And it's very rare that like, in here in this online reality gaming world that you have basically a rookie coming into a returning player season like that. It's not a thing. And basically especially I think Ian really is going to be learning, and Ashton, but we're here to talk about Ian. Ian is going to be learning the pace, learning, all these things, the nuanced changes that are different. In a lot of ways, BBH hasn't changed in a lot of ways. In many ways it has. And I think if he can be on a high alert, I think he's going to be on high alert. He doesn't want to be first boot again. He doesn't want to be like first 5 boots. He obviously wants to come in and win, but like he's going to be on high alert, and hopefully he can like, instead of just like being in the know, hopefully he has some like say in what the know is, and has some like he is shaping the narrative for himself and the bigger picture of the game at large. And he's not just someone that does just get dragged along. I hope he comes in there kicking and screaming, ready to go.
Yeah. Any final thoughts that either of you would like to share about Ian or potentially like what you think this game might hold for him?
Yeah, I think don't be underestimating Ian too much. Like we said, I think that he is from a long time ago, so maybe that will slide under people's radar, and maybe that can be an asset. So look out.
Yeah, I think if he does get past that first boot, I don't see anyone like dying to target Ian. I don't see anyone dying to target Ian for a while, as long as he avoids being that like person that's like, oh, we can always put Ian on the block. As long as we avoid that, and he's in there ready to play, and he makes those relationships, the sky's the limit for a guy like Ian. We've not seen his potential, and I know his potential as a strategist, but we've not seen his potential as a BBHer, and I'm excited to see that. I'm thrilled that he's back.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like you said at the front, the fact that he didn't ghost us when we asked him, the fact that he ultimately ends up applying, without really much of a fight at all is incredible. And I think it's so exciting, and hopefully, the viewers give this unknown person a chance.
Yeah.
I think he's really cool. I met him. I think he's really cool. And you guys obviously have been friends with him for a long time. You know what he brings just in general. And I think it's going to be really fun to watch him play.
Yeah, I'm ready. Bring it on.
Sweet. So this is our final reveal for this podcast. Thank you so much, Chris, for coming on to talk with us. Thank you, Josh, for being here. This is the last one, so that means you know the cast. Let us know who you're rooting for. Join the Discord if you haven't already joined. Get in there. Tell us your thoughts. Give us the hype. This game starts tomorrow. This game starts tomorrow.
Yep.
Repeat that. Tomorrow, you guys. So you have to get in there. You have to get excited. Get your fantasy picks in. DM me or Josh if you need into the VL. Get it done.
Yep. And also, I don't know what time it is because we're not recording this live, but whatever time it is, cast assessment for production cast assessment and draft tonight at 9 p.m. If my timing is right in my head, we're not that far off from 9 p.m. So 9 p.m. Watch us. All of Prod should be there. Most of us will be there. It's gonna be a lot of fun. We'll talk about everyone. We'll pick our teams, and I'm gonna win the draft this season. I'm determined. It's been a while.
All right, we'll see about that.
Yeah.
This series of looking at all these players' games has been an absolute blast for me, and I hope you've enjoyed them as well. And I hope you've enjoyed seeing all of our BBH alum come back to talk about people that they played with that are going to be on this season. But for now, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, goodbye, everybody. Bye.